I am Crisarvi Sevilla. For today's topic, we will be able to learn what is voting plurality with elimination method of voting or sequential runoffs. Introduction. Plurality with elimination is an instant runoffs can be conducted to find a winner without the needed for further voter participation, or eliminate the candidate with the least amount of first place votes and redistribute their votes amongst the other candidates. Repeat this process until you find a winner. So for this one, we need to eliminate the candidate who have a least amount of vote and redistribute their votes to the other candidates. So we have an example, our first example for our plurality with elimination method. So we have the CEO election. Suppose an election is held to the choices or the candidates are Rocco Del Rocha, Luca Lagdomeo, and Dwayne Castillo. Each voter is asked to fill in the following ballot by marking their first, second, and third place choices. So we need to create a table for our candidates. Here's one of the example of our table. And below in our table, these are the participants or the voter for this CEO election. We have Gia, Jessie, Bea, Nicole, Nico, and others. As we create for the table for the CEO election, we also need to create for the table for our participants or voters. So you may wonder there is first, second, and third choice because on the last slide on slide 6, it states that all the voters has the right to fill their choices of who will their vote. So for example, Gia choose LCDR, which means Lagdameo, Castillo, and Del Rocha. While Jessie choose DRCL, on her first choice she choose Del Rocha, second choice Castillo, and Lagdameo on her third choice, as well as the others who choose their first, second, and third choice. This is also the same from the previous slide where Johnny, Leah, and others has the same and different votes on their first, second, and third choice. Now, we must count the ballots. It is not as simple as just counting how many voters like each candidate. You have to look at how many like the candidate in their first place, second place, and third place. So there's need to be a better way to organize the result. This is known as a preference schedule. We will be able to know what is preference schedule on the next slide. Now, this is what a preference schedule would look like. It is a table used to organize the result of all the preference ballots in an election. Now, you may wonder why there is a number on the table instead of the names. It is because some of the voters has a same answer or votes on their first, second, and third choice. For example, where Bea, Yasamin, and Mary has a same vote or choices on their first, second, and third choice. That is why three of them are the same. And just like with the others, we need to find who are has a same votes for the election. On this slide, the elimination will happen for the CEO election. First, we need to list all the candidates, which are the Lagdomeos, Del Rocha, and Castillo. To be able to get their total vote and eliminate the candidate who has the lowest vote. So, dito tayo magbe-base sa first row. Dito. So, Lagdameo has 3 and 1 votes, that equivalent to 4 votes. While Del Rocha has 4 and 1 votes, that equivalent to 5 votes. Since Castillo has no other name in the first row, automatic that Castillo has 9 votes. So, since Lagdameo has only 4 votes, which is the lowest among Del Rocha and Castillo. So therefore, L is eliminated from the preference schedule since Lagdameo has the lowest votes. Since Lagdameo is now eliminated for having a small votes, there will be a changes for the first row. Since dalawa na lang po yung candidate natin, this will be the final step to determine who will be the next CEO. Now, since may changes po tayo na ginawa sa ating first row, since wala na po si Lagdameo, si DR po mapupunta po sa first choice, while si C po mapupunta sa second choice. Same with kay C po dito, mapupunta sa first choice, kay DR mapupunta po kay second choice. Since si C mapupunta sa second choice. Same process po tayo sa ano ginawa natin sa 3, 1, 4. Kaya ito po yung process natin gagawin sa 1 and 9. So, DR has 3 votes, DR has 4 votes, DR has 1 votes. So, to equivalent those votes, DR has 8 votes, while Castillo or C has 1 votes and 9 votes. So, therefore, to equivalent those votes, Castillo has 10 votes. Since ito na po yung dalawang candidate, makikita po natin kung sino yung nanalo. Which is Castillo po. Because Castillo has higher votes than Del Rocha. Because Del Rocha has 8 votes while Castillo has 10 votes. Therefore, Castillo will be the next CEO. For the second example, this is also similar for the first example where preference ballot for the student supreme president. Same process po rin ito where the candidates are Montefalco, Smith, Ayala, and T. This is also the participants or voters for the SSP election. What I have also said on the first example that we also need to do some table for our participants to fill their first, second, third, and choices. Just like what we have did on the first example, we need to find those participants who have same votes, then list all the candidates, then dito po tayo magbe-base sa first row kung magkano yung votes nila. Just like si M, merong 3. Si T, merong 3 plus 6 plus 2. That equivalents to 11. And A na 4 votes and S na 1 vote. So, therefore, since si S po may maliit na votes, so therefore, S will be eliminated for the preference schedule. Just like what we have did on our first example, we need to do some changes on our first row. After changing on the first row, we need to do the listing of our candidates. After listing all the candidates, we need to determine how many votes they have. Like, M has 3 votes, T has 3 plus 6 plus 2, that equivalents to 11 votes. And A has 4 plus 1 equals to 5 votes. Since we need to eliminate those candidates that has lowest votes, we need to eliminate M since he has 3 votes. So M is eliminated from the preference schedule. After that, same process na naman, change for the first row and list all the candidates, then determine how many votes they have. So since kadalawa na lang yung candidate na naiwan po natin dito, ito na po yung final step. So T has 11 votes and A has 8 votes. So T wins because he is greater than the 8. Example number 3. This is also similar for the first and second choice. Just like what we have did on the first and second example, we need to do some table. And this is also the participants or voters that will be participate on the mayor election. Just like what we have did, we also need to do some table for our cast or for our voters. So, just like we have did on our first and second example, yan po yung gagawin natin for our third example. So, si G meron pong 5 votes plus 7 votes that equivalent to 12 and si C may 7 votes, si M may 1, si W may 2. So, therefore, si M po yung eliminate since maliit po yung votes niya. Same with C2 na maliit din yung votes niya. Just like what we also did on our first, second example on the final step, we need to determine who is the final winner. So G has 5 votes, 7 votes plus 2 votes that equivalent to 4 votes. While C has 3 plus 1 plus 4 that equivalent to 8 votes. So C has first place votes and G has 14. So G wins. Therefore, Noel Gomez will be the next mayor. Thank you for listening and learning.